Classic Kiss, regrooved. Does it still hold up? Did it ever hold up to begin with? I don't know. That's what we're going to be discussing here today. So, welcome to the Kiss Army Things podcast, episode 104. Today, we're going to be talking about the Kiss My Ass tribute album, Classic Kiss, regrooved. Daphne, how's it going? Are you ready to do a review of this album?
As ready as I'll ever be.
As ready as you're ever going to be. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us. Be sure to follow along and in the comments, leave your review of this tribute album. I kind of want to know what you guys think because you guys may have been alive when this came out. I was -1. So this is actually something I don't really revisit that often. I can't even think of the last time I actually listened to this in full before this episode.
Right, like just because you wanted to.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to this? This was your first listen through. Had you heard any track from this at all?
I don't think so. I mean, it's very possible that in the last 12 years you might have shown me a song or two from it, but I could not remember any of it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it and talking about it, so I knew what it was, but I don't think I had it.
There were only a few of these that I even remembered.
Yeah.
Like maybe half of them I remembered. The other half, I was like, I couldn't tell you what they sounded like. I couldn't tell you who these bands were.
Right.
So hopefully today...
I still can't tell you who most of these bands are.
I was going to say, well, hopefully by the end of this episode, we'll have a better idea of this album and who these bands are and kind of the relationship to Kiss, because it was a really fun deep dive into this stuff. That's always the fun thing about about these episodes, is that you always learn something. At least I do. I'm always like, what? I didn't know that. And today is no exception. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I want to real quickly, before we get into anything, I want to shout out the Kiss Army Things patrons over on Patreon. Let's see if I can do this. We have Matthew Hendrickson. We have Darren Smith, Rex Metzer, and Bjorn Johnson, and Greg Sonic.
Nice.
Those are our Kiss Army Things super fans, and so thank you guys so much for supporting our show. It really does mean a lot. Anybody else who wants to join in on the Kiss Army Things Patreon, I think there's a link in the description, but basically we're just uploading some bonus videos, some behind-the-scenes stuff, and extended things. I've been putting some downloadable content up.
Oh, cool.
Like when we did our Kiss album, episode 100, I made some artwork for it, and so if you guys want, you can download
like
that.
Animated artwork.
And
awesome.
Well, that too, but
that
also,
video?
Also the print. Like
nice.
You can download it. There were fans who were like, "Hey, I want that," and I said, well, "Go for it." And so
sweet. Like make your own CD cover.
Yeah, and one of our fans, Bill Phelps, in the comments was like, "I'm gonna make a cassette."
Cool.
I said, "Oh, dude, I gotta make a cassette." So I actually did custom artwork for the cassette.
That's awesome.
Sent it to him and was like, "Here you go, bro. Let me know."
Cover, yeah.
You know. So yeah, the Patreon is fun. The things we're doing and the extra stuff is a lot of fun. So yeah, get involved in that if you guys want. You don't have to, but it's just a lot of fun. Again, today's episode is going to be all about the Kiss My Ass tribute album. And I thought that we would do a mini pre-spotlight before we did our track-by-track review. Because we were listening earlier this week to Peter Criss's solo album.
That is true, we were. I almost forgot about that.
And I kind of wanted to bring that up because it's not one that gets spotlit a lot around here. Unless, Ryan somewhere can hear us and he's like, oh, Peter Criss. But anyway, so the thing I don't remember, though, is why we were... Do you know why we were listening to Peter Criss's solo album? Because something sparked that.
I think all it was is we were hanging out like in our computer room office area, and you were working on stuff, and sometimes when you're working on things or researching or whatever, you'll just have Kiss on shuffle.
Sure.
So I'm pretty sure...
But I don't have the solo albums in my playlist.
Really?
It's only Kiss. So I don't know...
But isn't it on... Maybe you were listening to...
Was it on Kiss 40, maybe?
You were listening to Kiss 40. That's what it was.
It must have been. Because
I think I remember that now. You were listening to Kiss 40, and that song came on, and for some reason, it was a vibe in the moment.
United to Me is good. Yeah, it's got that fun synth, and it's a good song.
We were into it, so you were like, you know what? Let's listen to the whole album.
Yeah, so we went and just listened to like a lot of the solo. Just because it was fun.
Yeah.
And I forgot about that lyric, vaccinated with a vitriol needle.
Oh my gosh.
Such a great lyric. But anyway, so I thought, you know what? We're going to mention that on the podcast, listening to Peter Criss's solo album, because like I said, it's not one that gets spotlit, but I thought it'd be fun to mention. Yeah. Is there anything else that would be worthy of spotlighting that you can think of that you were listening to?
I can't think.
It's pretty much been...
In the past week, no.
Yeah, because it's pretty much been this album, Kiss My Ass. So I thought we would talk about that, because it is the 30th anniversary of that album. We're a little bit late. It was June 21st was the anniversary. It was released in 94. This is recording on the 29th. It'll go up tomorrow. Or what is today? The 29th or 30th? It's 29th, I thought.
It is the 29th. You
29th, for sure. So tomorrow on the 30th, we will have our episode uploaded. But so 30th anniversary, I thought, you know what, that's cool. We're going to sit here, we're going to talk about that. It's fun because, again, it's not one that I really revisit a lot. It's one that you kind of have to fill in the collection.
Yeah.
But it's not one that really gets revisited. So it was a weird time in history, you know, because in 94, they just released Revenge. It barely squeaked by gold. The tour was not that great as far as attendance. It was the best tour,
I was to say, which is
probably musically,
because it's
but
so good.
But yeah, there was a big shift in the music industry. Lots of grunge bands.
Yeah.
You know, it was the opposite of the glam era. It was like, let's be as low effort as possible. You know, bands like Kiss, who were known to be going over the top, they weren't in. It was their 20th anniversary, so this was released in conjunction with the 20th anniversary.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Released in 94, the first album came out in 74, so this was one thing they were just trying to do, it felt like, to stay relevant.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bands at the time, these newer wave bands, these 90s bands, grunge bands. Even some of the 80s bands, you know, they were saying, you know, how much Kiss influenced them.
Right.
And I think, you know, it kind of, you know, perked Gene Paul's ears up a little bit. It's like, oh, well, all these newer artists are actually coming out and saying how much we influenced them. Let's get them together to do a tribute album. And I think there was another tribute album that came out in the 90s, or very early 90s, in 1990. I forget what the name of it was, but there was another Kiss tribute album that Gene and Paul kind of saw and was like, okay, well, that worked out really well. What if we did an officially sanctioned Kiss tribute album? So that's kind of what this turned into. And there was a quote that I loved reading where Gene said that this was the graduating class of the Kiss Army.
I like that. Wow.
And so I was like, okay,
that's cool.
I like the marketing behind it. Not sure if it makes it any better musically, but it's fun to hear, you know, it said that way because there are a lot of Kiss connections to these bands. So that is really cool. But we were talking about on a previous episode the album cover.
Yes.
I forget what episode that was, but we were talking about how, I think you asked, you know, why is Ace's makeup not on the cover? Why is it this sort of weird, you know, gold, almost diamond shaped?
Yeah. You almost don't notice it at first because they intentionally put it on the person who's showing the least of their face, I feel like. So your eye automatically goes to the other three that do have the correct makeup. But yeah, what would be Ace is some obscure, unknown character.
Yeah, and so the reason why, and we asked in the comments, you know, because I had heard the story but couldn't recall it, so I was like, fans, let us know, and they actually, that's okay, yeah, for sure, duh, makes sense. The license or the rights to Ace's makeup were not cleared.
Gotcha.
In time for this. I think by this time, Peter had already sold the rights to his makeup, and this was before Ace had sold his rights to Kiss, and so they weren't able to clear them in time, and it was just like, throw some random makeup on there. It kind of looks like Paul's Bandit in a way, filled in with like the gold of Vinnie Vincent. I don't know, it's just a random design to kind of, like you said, just to get the idea across.
Yeah.
What I did notice and think was cool was I saw pictures online where in different countries, the Japanese, Australian, and Germany or whatever, the releases had their flag in the background.
That's cool.
Canadian, I think it was.
Yeah.
So the American flag, it was the Canadian flag.
That's cool.
Or Australian flag. So it was, that was cool because it was a worldwide release, and there were different versions released internationally, I think. Or at least, we'll get to that later on. But anyway, so now that we've kind of immersed ourselves in 94, we know where we're at in history. Let's go ahead and do a track-by-track review. I'm going to put this here. Actually, one thing I thought was cool was that they're promoting the History book.
Oh, that's cool.
Inside on the CD. So they're celebrating 20 years by doing a tribute album and also promoting the History book. It's just the Kiss machine at work perfectly. Even in 94 when, you know, again, it was kind of a low point for the band in terms of like activity. You know, the next year was the conventions and everything before the big reunion.
Right.
I even have my record here, which is somehow still sealed.
Yeah.
I think Jeb bought this last year for me. Picked it up and said, hey, I got a sealed copy of Kiss My Ass, you want it? I was like, that's what I don't have, so absolutely. It was made in Holland, you can see here, and I love this back cover.
Yeah.
I think this back cover is so cool. It's kind of like that on the CD, but it's cropped.
A little different, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost kind of abstract on the back, but no, the vinyl version of the back cover to me is way better. But anyway, this actually does have the bonus track on here, and we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that. So if you want, you can.
I knew that was a bonus track.
That
makes sense though.
Yeah.
I listened to it on Spotify, so.
Oh, you did listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So you did hear the bonus track.
Yeah, and I didn't know it was a bonus track.
Very cool.
But it makes sense because it was. I was like, why is this randomly at the end after a perfect ending? I don't understand. But now I get it. It's
okay, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you caught that because I actually was listening to my CD version.
Yeah.
So only, I think, last night before did I actually listen to the bonus track just to kind of refreshen my mind. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, we're going to do a track-by-track review and just kind of talk about what we thought about this, because again, it's pretty much fresh to me. I know it's completely fresh to you. So first track, we have Deuce, Lenny Kravitz, and Stevie Wonder. Babe, what was your thoughts hearing this track for the first time?
This was the one I was most excited to hear, simply because it's one of the few that has artists that I know on it, honestly, and like. I don't know. On first listen, I wasn't into it as much as I thought I would be, but the more I've heard it, the more I like it. It's a very Stevie Wonder, soulful vibes.
Yeah.
It's very R&B, groovy. I just think it's interesting that they chose Deuce. Because I liked the vibe, and I love Stevie Wonder. I like Lenny Kravitz, but I don't know if that was the song that they could. I feel like they could have chosen a better song to do in that style. What that is, I don't know.
I don't know how they got Stevie Wonder on this, and I think he just did the harmonica, which the harmonica felt
I think
out
a
of
lot of the instrumentation and I think backing vocals too are Stevie.
You think so?
I think there's more Stevie on it than you think. It's
for sure, because I couldn't really find any like substantial information on how he got involved or what he actually did.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe harmonicas.
Well, he plays a lot of instruments,
well, Lenny is the one, I think, who was kind of maybe taking the lead on this. I think it was him on guitar. It was definitely him on vocals.
Yeah, but towards the end, there's a lot of other instruments, like, I don't know, maybe a saxophone, things like that.
Sure. To me, that screams Lenny, but who actually knows? I don't know.
Maybe I don't know enough about Lenny Kravitz, and I know too much about Stevie Wonder.
Maybe
that sounded like Stevie to me.
For sure, and that it could be because
that's what all his songs sound like.
For sure, because I was kind of wondering because it sounded weird to me because I was kind of the opposite of you, where I was like, "Oh, this is going to be good," and then the more I heard it, the less good it was.
Really?
If that makes any sense. And I don't know, it just kind of felt like it was a little repetitive with the
yes,
yeah,
that did get annoying towards the end.
Got very repetitive, and it felt like the harmonica and some of that extra instrumentation just felt a little out of place.
That's what I'm saying.
And maybe that was the Stevie Wonder. I don't know.
It felt out of place on this song. Like I like all of that stuff, and it sounded really cool. But on Deuce, that seems like such a random song to do in that style.
I think the reason why is because Lenny himself is a massive Kiss fan.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been his suggestion to do the song. I don't have any verification on that, but I know that for a fact that Lenny Kravitz is a massive Kiss fan.
Yeah.
And so maybe that has something to do with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's cool. Personally, it grew on me, but it's just a strange song choice for those two people.
Yeah, it really was. And I thought that it was cool that, yes, it's a 70s song, rock song, and I think Lenny Kravitz does come in with that classic 70s funky sound. That's just him as an artist. So it was cool to hear Deuce in a different style like that.
Right.
But because Deuce is such a hard and heavy song, I'm used to that heavy distorted guitars, those huge drum fills, and that big bombastic sound. Nevertheless, though, I think it was the perfect song and the perfect artist to open. Deuce, one of the very first Kiss songs ever written.
Right.
It's on the first album. And then again, Lenny Kravitz is a huge Kiss fan. There's a photo of him dressing up as Gene Simmons back in like 79, I think, or something like that.
That's awesome.
He won the award for Best Male Pop Rock Artist at the AMAs in 2002 and was presented the award by Kiss, by Gene and Paul, in full makeup.
I was going to say, I feel like I have an image of them together at an award show in my head. It must be that.
And that to me was like, it must have been a full circle moment for him. But he even
cool.
said, I grew up with these guys as posters on my walls. If it wasn't for Kiss, I wouldn't be here. So I do like the fact that, even if, again, it's not the best version of Deuce, that at least you have an artist who is a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
And the influence is there. That does make it a true tribute. Whether or not, you like a song or not, that's your opinion. The facts are is that that's so cool to have a Kiss fan represented on this.
Agreed.
This.
I do wish... I'm imagining them doing a song in this style from, like, Unmasked or something. I feel like that would fit so much better.
There's a lot of extra stuff going on Unmasked. A lot of like synths and things that you would normally hear.
Yeah, and it just has that more dancey, groovy...
That swing.
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting, though.
Yeah, I liked it, but I mean, it would have been interesting. Yeah, I don't know. But going back to Lenny Kravitz being a huge Kiss fan, he even got to meet Kiss on the End of the Road tour. He met him backstage got his photo taken. That was super cool. So like I said, at least you have artists who are Kiss fans.
Yeah.
Very similar to track number 2. Track number 2 is Garth Brooks doing Hard Luck Woman. Now, this one, to me, was one of the better versions.
Agreed.
And maybe it has to do with the fact that it's actually Kiss playing the music.
Is it really?
It's actually Eric Singer playing drums, it's Bruce playing guitar, Paul playing rhythm, Gene playing bass.
I didn't know that.
Garth Brooks singing lead.
That's so cool.
This is the only track where Gene and Paul actually played.
That's really cool.
Which is kind of
Well, it makes sense because it's like... I was going to say it's the one that's the most faithful to the original track.
Yeah.
And that makes sense if Kiss is actually playing it.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. I remember when we talked about, listening to this, and I hadn't yet. I was looking at the track list, and I saw that Garth Brooks did Hard Luck Woman, and I was like, oh, that makes sense to me. And I was like, Hard Luck Woman is almost a country song already. Like,
Very close.
You don't have to do much to it. And they really didn't. They didn't really countrify the production or the instrumentation at all.
Kiss.
It's the same track, pretty much, but with a country singer's voice on top, and that's all it took to make it a good country song.
Fantastic vocals.
Oh yeah,
too.
He sounds great.
And you can even hear Paul Stanley underlying his vocals on the harmonies and the "Too Proud to Be a Queen." When he hits those notes, Paul just goes full. What? I mean, I'm not gonna do it, but Paul Stanley, but he does just incredible. But it's very low in the mix because it is supposed to be Garth.
Right. Yeah. That's cool.
But it is cool to have Kiss on the track because, like you said, you mentioned it was one of the more faithful ones. A lot of these go left field. I mean, the 90s was
to say the least.
The 90s was a lawless time.
It really was.
When it came to music. It was like, let's just be as crazy and random as possible and just not care.
Yeah.
It was the exact opposite of the 80s, I felt like. So with this album, I mean, yeah, there's some hits, there's some misses. This one's a hit.
Agreed.
This one hits hard. Garth Brooks, as we all know, massive Kiss fan.
Yeah.
I even heard a story where Garth, went backstage to one of his shows out in L.A. and realized that Gene and Paul were backstage. And I guess he had just done an article or done an interview where he was like, I'm a huge Kiss fan. Those guys, really influenced me. I would be here because of them. And I guess that they got wind of that.
Okay.
And got backstage to one of his shows. And when he came backstage, it wasn't, "Hi, I'm Gene. Hi, I'm Paul." Paul says, "I see it. I see it in your voice. I see it in your stage show. I see it in your clothes. Thank you."
Aww.
And Garth he said he was beaming, had his whole chest out.
That's so awesome.
And was like, "Thank you." He started getting misty-eyed. And I think Gene even said, that he put his arm around him. And Garth said, "If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing tonight." And like Gene started to get misty-eyed. And Gene said, "Call me a sap." But I think that kind of stuff is like very humbling, very flattering. And just to have a real moment with a real artist. So reading that story in conjunction with this episode was really cool.
That is cool.
I liked hearing that. Apparently, I'm not really too familiar with Garth Brooks and his music. Are you?
Only a little bit.
Only a little bit? Okay,
yeah.
for sure. Well, apparently his live shows are pretty nuts, too.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because that you're talking about the Kiss connection with him, because I'm pretty sure it's him. He had... and I think it was in the 90s or early 2000s, he had a weird phase. He's a very talented musician, very successful country artist, obviously.
Yeah.
But he had this weird phase where he, had, an alter ego musician, under a different name. What is his name?
Like an alias or something?
Well, it's so hard to explain, but he put out albums under a different name and with, a completely different look. He, kind of disguised himself, like sunglasses, different facial hair, different clothes. And it wasn't country. I don't even really know what it was, but it was more emotional, singer-songwriter rock kind of thing.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, I wish I could think of what his name was, but I've watched some YouTube videos on it before, and it was a really interesting time.
So maybe that's, again, him kind of channeling his...
that's what I'm thinking.
His inner demon star child, whatever.
He liked that idea of having a different character, and he wanted to try something else. I don't think it was very successful, but it's funny that you said that, because that was immediately what came to mind.
I don't see that appealing to a country audience.
Well, he wasn't marketing it to
Oh, true. He
was pretending it wasn't him.
Yeah,
totally
you're right. Yeah, I don't know. That's wild. I never knew that. But I just learned, like I said, his live shows were pretty crazy. And I guess during his live shows, he was like swinging from ropes,
Whoa,
climbing the lighting trusses, and then even like flying out on rigs across the stage,
like Paul,
like Paul would across the crowd. So I guess his live shows got pretty intense, but again, it just all goes back to his love of Kiss.
Chris Gaines is what he went by.
Chris Gaines, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is Garth Brooks, and it was like a rock. Yeah, he was originally gonna make a movie with this character, then that never happened. So there's just like a couple of.
So that's his elder. He was going to make a movie, but it never
yeah,
happened. So it's just a random album.
That's a really
and it didn't work out that well. So
that's a really good way to put it.
Interesting analogy. I never knew that. Thank you for bringing that to the table.
Yeah.
I had no idea. What I did know is that track 3 was sick.
Ooh,
because it's
Anthrax.
Yeah. She. I also said Parasite. They did a cover of Parasite, but this was the cover of She. And this is probably my favorite one on the album.
Yeah, it might be the best. It's definitely one of the best.
This is the one that as soon as the guitars hit, I'm ready to go. Yeah. Because Anthrax has a very specific sound. I mean, they're part of that 80s thrash. So as soon as you hear that distorted guitar, it's kind of like Metallica. It's kind of like Slipknot, but it's its own thing. It's in between those two bands.
Yeah.
Kind of. But, gosh, love this version. And,
so cool.
and they're huge Kiss fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the point of this, it seems like.
A lot of the artists are. Not all of them, I don't know if they are or not, but yeah, a lot of these artists, it was meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Gene said that line about the
graduating
class, I feel like they were intentionally trying to pick as many as they could that had a connection to Kiss.
It almost, I think, if I'm correct, they were aiming for more higher level artists who either couldn't, more well-known, more famous, but who were also still influenced by Kiss. But it was either a case of they couldn't do it because their schedule, they wouldn't do it, didn't want to do it, or their label wouldn't want them to do it.
That makes sense.
But it just seemed like, they were aiming for some of these other bigger bands, and just everything fell through. And so what we got was kind of like a hodgepodge of different things. But again, I mean, I like seeing it, and we're going to continue to see the theme here about the Kiss fans making this a Kiss album. Is it the best Kiss tribute album? No. But is it a, true Kiss tribute album? Yes, it actually is. This is the only track, or at least Hard Luck Woman was the only one that actually had Kiss on the music. Do you think it would have been cool to see, or have Kiss play the tracks on every other song? Kind of like how Paul McCartney's band did on Art of McCartney?
Yeah, it probably would have been more cohesive in the way that Art of McCartney was. But I also think it's cool to kind of give the bands freedom. Because with the way they did it on Art of McCartney, even though, I understand the idea and it did make it more sonically cohesive and clean in general, it does kind of suck for the bands that are bands and not allowing a lot of the members to play. So I do...
that's true. Maybe
with Garth Brooks, it's one thing because he's a standalone singer.
Good point.
But for a band...
But like Anthrax, I don't want to hear Bruce, no offense. I want to hear... Yeah.
Yeah, to take most of the members out and only let the singer sing, I don't think it would have worked
for sure. No,
on this album.
I do see that. You're right. But nevertheless, I think Anthrax was probably the best. And like I said,
good.
The whole band are Kiss fans. Frank Bello went into like great depth in his book, like pages on pages of just like Kiss Alive.
Yeah.
And what Kiss meant to him. Scotty, and we all know, is huge Kiss fan, has a tattoo on his leg, and it was part of the super group on VH1 when they played God of Thunder with Rob Zombie and Tommy Lee and all that. And of course Charlie Benante, we know, was on Classic 78. Mm-hmm. He was on Phantoms.
Yeah.
So the Anthrax drummer, I mean, of course he's a huge Kiss fan, but I just like seeing that. It was so awesome. Theirs was by far the heaviest.
Yes.
Theirs was by far the best, and I think they have some of the best Kiss covers, period. Like I said, I almost said Parasite because that was the first cover I ever heard of them, but even before this. I didn't get this album until, middle school or whatever, high school, when I actually had money to go and buy all these CDs. But I had already heard on YouTube their cover of Parasite, and it was amazing. I think they even did we heard Watching You
last night. Watching
and
was good.
Love Her All I Can.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to see just a whole Anthrax Kiss tribute album.
That'd be so good.
That'd be like one of the best albums ever.
Yeah.
I think it'd be heavy. Any more thoughts on She?
It was just a perfect... It's exactly what you want out of a heavier version of a Kiss song.
It was faithful.
Yes, it was faithful but heavier.
But it was heavier.
Yeah,
and they even took it up a notch at the end where, as opposed to ending it like the song normally ends, they went into the live aspect, where it's the... They did that part at the end, which is what Kiss would do live. So, and of course, that just goes to show how big of Kiss fans they are. So, loved that. And there's a cool clip that I found, and this I had never seen on YouTube. Found a really cool clip of Kiss in the studio with Anthrax while they were recording this.
Oh, cool.
So even though Kiss were not on the track, I found a really cool video. And Gene and Paul are just like head bobbing while they're playing. And
that's so cool.
That was really
cool.
cool.
That.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's only like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But when I saw it come up, because I was trying to do as much research as possible, and I saw that and thought, no, I gotta watch this. A minute and a half, oh yeah, I'm watching this. Super awesome. So yeah, guys, check it out if you've never seen it. But loved the Anthrax cover. I thought theirs was the best, and the start of this album is like flawless so far in terms of like the artists, because here are, I think, the biggest artists at that time as far as on this album. Like out of all these artists, Lenny, Garth, and Anthrax.
Yeah, they definitely arranged it in a particular way to where the first few would be more well-known names that are gonna grab your attention.
Yeah. Now, having said that, though, I do love the cover of Christine 16.
Was that the next one?
That's the next track, and that was done by Gin Blossoms.
Okay, and
I liked this.
I didn't think that I knew who they were, but I do know who they are.
Oh, you do? Okay, what's up?
Well, I'm not going to be able to think of it now that you're asking me, but but there is a well-known song of theirs that's like on the radio.
Gotcha.
Well,
Go for it.
Now I got to find out.
Yeah, for sure. Now you got to find out, but that's really cool. So this band, I mean, I knew that they were obviously known for just more than being on this Kiss Tribute album, but as far as like me, I never knew who they were. Do I know this song, do you think? Would I know
Probably. Hey Jealousy.
Hey Jealousy. Maybe.
I don't know why I know this song, but I do.
Well, that's cool though. That's really cool, because I knew they were known more than just for this. But anyway, so Gin Blossoms, they were formed in the late 80s, made it big in 92. And they actually performed this song live with Kiss.
Did they really?
Now, this is something that I did not know. This I learned while I was doing this, and while I was trying to look up stuff, and found, I had to dig for it though, because once I found out that it was real, or that it happened, I had to go trace the actual video. Yeah. But yeah, so I think in like July of 94, a month after this was released, Gene and Paul, I shouldn't say Kiss and Gin Blossoms, it was Gene and Paul, but they performed on stage with Gin Blossoms on Letterman. Oh. Late night TV. They played Christine 16 live with the band. That's so cool. And it was really cool. Again, I don't know how, I never knew. I don't know how many the folks watching or listening knew. If you did, that's great. If not, you're like me, you learned something.
Yeah, check it out.
But go look it out, check it out. It was really fun. Gene and Paul just stand out. Yeah. So much on stage. Like even with out of makeup, they just look taller. And they're just built different, and they move different. The way they carry themselves on stage. Is different. But it was still really cool to see Kiss on Letterman performing this song.
Did Gene and the Gin Blossoms lead vocalists share vocals? Did they go back and forth?
Gene and Paul were basically there just to perform and sang, I think, backup vocals.
Okay, but they still let them take the lead. Okay.
They let Gin Blossoms take the lead. Okay, cool. Which was really cool.
That's awesome.
The one thing, though, that I noticed during that performance was... because obviously it's live TV, you're playing a song called Christine 16. Yeah. Gene, at the part where it's like, I usually don't say it's the girls your age, whatever. Yeah. At the end, Gene said, "You're a freshman, I'm a senior." Okay. And when I heard it, it made me laugh, because, okay, the high school thing, junior, senior, but it made me think, is he trying to justify the song?
He's trying to say, I'm writing this from a 17-year-old's perspective, or an 18-year-old.
I'm 17... You're 14, and but if you're a freshman and you're 16, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But so I'm thinking, is he trying to justify it, or is he literally saying you're a freshman, but I'm a senior citizen?
Senior, like an old person.
Yes. So
okay, maybe.
To me, it
Freshman
was just,
still doesn't make sense, though.
It really caught my ear because, again, it was
I think
something
he's just saying
completely
shit.
out of the ordinary. I mean, again, this is all like new to me, so I was like listening to it very intently. As soon as Gene's like, "You're a freshman, I'm a senior," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
That's so funny.
And I wasn't sure if he was trying to like justify it or if he was trying to like dig the nail in, even deeper.
Yeah.
Either way, it was super weird, super funny, and I did not know this either. But apparently, this song was sampled by a rapper. Not this version, but Christine 16 itself was sampled by a rapper in '89.
Okay.
His name is Tone Loc, and he did a song called "Funky Cold Medina."
This brother told me a secret.
Okay.
Have you heard the song "Funky Cold Medina"?
That almost sounds familiar, but I don't know.
It will sound familiar in a minute, and I'm going to tell you why, because this
Okay.
gets so deep.
Okay.
We're on layer 1
Oh, gosh.
of 3. Anyway, so yeah, Tone Loc sampled, I'm not sure if it was him or his label, who cares. Tone Loc sampled Christine 16 on his song "Funky Cold Medina." This is back in '89, right? And Holt and Peralta mentioned this on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That's why it sounds familiar.
Apparently, Holt says,
You don't work with Jake Peralta for 3 years without knowing what the funky cold Medina is.
Oh, hell yeah. Ask the guy why you so fly.
He said funky cold Medina. Funky cold Medina.
Zero rehearsal.
and it was like they're just both deadpan looking at whoever it is they're talking to.
Yeah.
And so I guess the song is about this special drink that if you drink it, then you become irresistible.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you drink it and someone else drinks it, it's like a love potion. Two hours of a love potion.
Yeah.
It's called Funky Cold Medina. As soon as you drink it, you're going to be, smooth with the ladies. Everything's going to be, and so whatever. Anyway, so that's what they were referencing in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then this I found out just today. That's layer 2. This is layer 3.
Okay.
I just found out today, before we filmed this, that Tone Loc, that same rapper, was actually considered by Kiss to rap on Read My Body.
What?
On Hot in the Shade.
What?
What the hell's going on?
Can you imagine if that had happened?
It didn't happen. But could you imagine...
Can you imagine if there was a rapper on a Kiss song?
Kiss having a rapper featured...
I almost wish it would have happened.
I almost
kind of
wish it would have happened too, because that would have been wild.
Yeah.
But that blew my
would have been
mind.
an
I'm still not even sure if it's
crossover.
true, because again, I just read it. You can read
Yeah.
anything, right? You can read anything, and it could be not true. So I don't know the validity on that statement. But when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, could you imagine?
That's hilarious.
First of all, Read My Body.
Yeah.
One of the greatest Kiss songs of all time,
It is
right?
a great
No, it's like people hate that
I know,
song.
it's a good song.
And so maybe it would have been worse having a rapper on that
It
song.
would have been so much worse. Are you
But-
kidding me?
God,
People would have hated it.
See, now I'm thinking, like, okay, would it have been a rock song and just had him doing one of the verses? Or would Kiss have put a little bit of that
a
that
hip hop
late 80s rap sound on Hot in the Shade?
No.
Could you imagine?
No.
Holy crap.
If
I don't know.
If that's true, I want to know who vetoed it.
I still don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it didn't come to happen or whatever. Again, it could be false, but talk about wild.
Yeah, that's insane.
Could you imagine having a rapper? I mean, that'd be awesome, I think.
Yeah.
But my mind can't even fathom it. 89, Tone Loc, Kiss, Hot in the Shade. Read My Body? I don't know. It was just crazy. So if you guys know anything about that or anything else on that, let me know, because again, so far I've learned 2 pretty big, incredible things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But anyway, let's just keep it going, because we're gonna get even deeper, even crazier into this album. It's Rock and Roll All Night.
Oh, here we go.
By Toad the Wet Sprocket.
First of all, who on earth is this band?
What is they were formed in California '86.
Okay.
I really don't know. They seem to be more of an indie band, a folk band.
Toad
They're
the
not-
Wet Sprocket.
They're not rock and roll, I'll tell you
They're
that.
definitely not rock and roll, which is why it's very interesting that they chose this song.
They're definitely not rock and roll. I don't even know if they're Kiss fans. I don't know how they got involved.
Okay.
I really couldn't find any actual information on them being Kiss fans, so maybe I should look hard enough or look in the right places. But this just seemed like a random choice.
It is so bizarre.
Because Rock and Roll Night, as we know, is do da do da do da da da. This is I wanna rock and roll all night.
It's all different. The melody is
the
different.
melody, everything.
The tempo is different. Everything is different.
Love it or hate it.
I don't love it. I don't want to straight up say I hate it.
And somehow,
But
I think it's great. Somehow.
What?
I shouldn't.
Well, see, and I
shouldn't like it.
I'm not even opposed to like a song in this style being on this album. It's just the rock and roll all night. It has rock and roll in the title. You're saying rock and roll all night. It sure doesn't sound like you want to rock and roll all night.
It's a hard juxtaposition.
It is like a weird, slow,
very
folksy country kind of song. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's just very off-putting.
It's very weird, and I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard it, I wasn't even sure what I was listening to.
I know.
I was like, what is this?
It really throws you off.
This is rock and roll night, and it said, "You show us everything." I'm like, okay, so there's the lyrics. But by the time I got to the chorus, I had my lighter in the air, as it were.
Serious?
I wanna rock and roll. It's just slow jamming it out.
Slow.
It's so slow, and I shouldn't like it.
I'm happy for you.
As a Kiss fan, I should hate it. It should make my blood boil. And instead, I just want to get my lighter out and say, I want to rock and roll all night, man. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was crazy.
I'm happy for you.
For sure. Well, thank you. But no, I did want, again, to know, some more backstory on this and figure out. Even though I couldn't find anything about them being Kiss fans, it's like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? And apparently Gene Simmons loved it.
Okay.
Gene Simmons loved it. The lead singer explained that we knew that no matter what we did, there would be some Kiss fans who would not think it was hilarious. Or who would think it was hilarious, and there would be some Kiss fans who would be upset that a band as non-rock as us was taking that song. Glenn Phillips is hilarious. His name. Glenn Phillips is the guy's name. He was saying, look, we know there's going to be some Kiss fans that are going to love it, they're going to hate it. It's going to either piss you off or it's going to make you laugh.
It's going to be polarizing.
It's going to be one of the two. And so in their eyes, it was like, why don't we just decide to turn it into a waltz and do a really silly campfire version?
Okay.
And that was their reasoning behind it.
Knowing that it was kind of meant to be a little silly makes me appreciate it more.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from too, because it was like, to me, you could tell it was very intentional. That the song "Rock and Roll All Night" is probably the slowest one on the album.
Yeah, it is,
and it should be not the case.
Yeah,
and it is. So I like that a little bit. And again, Gene Simmons, according to the guy, Gene Simmons loved it. He thought it was the bravest thing we could have done with it. There were a lot of Kiss fans who wanted to take a hit out on us, and were very upset. But we had a great time doing it, and it actually makes a great campfire song. Why not? Apparently, Gene told the band that the most important thing is that the character of your band shows through each song.
Absolutely.
And when I read that quote, my idea of the album kind of changed a little bit. Again, I can say what I want about the songs as far as my opinion goes, but it seems like Gene and Paul were really hands-off.
Yeah.
In terms of no, do it this way, do it that way.
They really wanted to give them creative freedom.
That goes against everything you would know or people would think about Gene and Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Basically Gene and Paul is these controlling, overlords, and it was like, you can tell that they're just giving them creative freedom to do whatever they want. And even if some of these, 30 years on, don't hold up quite as well, this is very much a 90s album, and it's very much a rock and roll album, and it's very much a Kiss fan album, so that checks out, especially when Gene was like, look, we want the character of your band to show through each song. Each song should be, again, Gin Blossoms, Toad the Wet Sprocket, we're going to get into a few others. It's a Kiss song, but it should be through your eyes. So I can appreciate that. But this was one of the ones that, I didn't actually mind.
No, it's a hilarious choice of them to choose this song. And it is off-putting, but fun, I guess.
I'm curious to know what you thought of the next song by Shandy's Addiction, Calling Dr. Love.
Oh,
This version of Dr. Love. Because this is the one that grew on me the most.
Really?
This is the one that
Maybe
grew on me the most.
Maybe I need to hear it more, because I didn't love it.
Yeah, I hated it back in the day.
I like the way it sounds for the most part. I just don't like that he uses that voice the whole time. It bothers me.
Which one? There's two. There's the regular, you got the cue you're thinking. But
yeah,
then
maybe
there's
not the whole time.
Then there's the calling Dr. Love.
That's way overused.
That, literally made my blood boil back in the day. When I first heard it, there's a certain magic that song has on Rock and Roll Over. Mm-hmm. That might be the best cut from that album. Not the best song, but the
best recording.
The best recording.
Yeah, I understand that.
Dr. Love.
Yeah,
the
special.
Guitar is huge. The production and just the way it was recorded was special. And so to me, this was a complete bastardization.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. I absolutely hated this. And it was for that very reason. It was the calling doctor, that robotic sort of...
Yeah, and I understand why. And I can see,
so
sprinkling
mad.
that in here and there. Because it Because it actually sounds like somebody over an intercom, with a monotonous voice.
Bingo.
Calling Dr. Love. And so I feel like you can sprinkle that in throughout, but it felt so overused. It kind of drove me crazy.
So even though, it bothered me.
Do you like it now?
It doesn't bother, and it still bothers me because I still have that memory of it, and so that'll always be with me. But like you said, it does remind me of somebody over an intercom, which is where Gene got the song from, was the Three Stooges. Yeah. Calling Doctor, you hear it over the intercom. So Gene thought, we'll call him Dr. Love. It's a perfect title. So that's how I wrote it. So I feel like, the artists are, throwing back to that sort of like PA system, intercom, Dr. Love. So... But let's get to the band themselves, because this band is called Shandy's Addiction. Yes. Which Shandi, obviously, is from the Kiss Unmasked album. This is a one-off band. This is a supergroup.
Oh, is it really?
This, I did not know either. And I should have. I'm a huge Kiss fan. Been a Kiss fan for almost 30 years. Almost about as long as this has been around. This I never knew. This is a supergroup featuring Maynard James Keenan from Tool.
What?
Okay, that's Tool. Singing.
That's Maynard?
That's Maynard singing. Then you have Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. I think you also have the drummer, Brad Wilk, also from Rage Against the Machine. Billy Gold from Faith No More. So this is a supergroup.
That's wild.
A one-off supergroup of...
What do you mean one-off? Like, do they have others... Just this song?
Those guys from those bands got together for this recording
this song only. They don't even have, like, an album
No.
An EP.
And they called themselves Shandy's Addiction.
See, and I assumed... when I saw the track listing, I'm like, I wonder if... all these bands are Kiss fans. I wonder if that's a Kiss reference. But I didn't think it was just a one-off.
Yeah, no, neither did I.
I need to re-listen to this knowing that it's Maynard.
I think it'll help.
That's so interesting.
And again, it's funny how much I know about Kiss, but then when you do the podcast and you're trying to figure out and get your facts straight, it's like, whoa.
That's so cool.
I gotta tell folks this, because I'm sure most of these folks already knew this. But
shout out to our friend Cody, who's the biggest Maynard and Tool fan
so is
ever.
Jeb.
Yeah.
Jeb and Cody are both huge Tool
fans,
Puscifer fans. So...
Perfect Circle. That's
Perfect Circle.
He's got like 3 bands.
For real.
4 apparently, if you count this one.
But we all know that, Maynard, huge Kiss fan. Tom Morello obviously was the one who inducted Kiss into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so we know he's a Kiss fan.
Yeah.
One of the best speeches ever spoken. Right up there with the MLK baby. Just, just important to our cult. No. Anyway, so loved this version because what happened for me was I got over the fact that it was not the same as the Kiss version, and I got over the fact that it had that mechanical robotic voice, and really appreciated the music because again it was a 90s album. This is a very 90s song. They take a lot of that same groove out and they put in this it's almost like a band called Static X. I don't know if you've ever heard of Static X, but they're very industrial 90s metal. Dun, 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 dun. And so that main portion of this version of Dr. Love has that 90s, Static X sound that back then I couldn't have appreciated that. I couldn't have known that, So, and plus knowing the guys that are doing it makes much more sense now. That's Tool and Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, that's fun.
And Faith No More.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now.
That's
you know
really
what I mean?
Cool.
So, once I figured out some more of the behind the scenes, it was cool. I liked the intro. I will admit that by the end, it kind of falls apart. I think it's intentional. It gets really dissonant, really off time, and they start blah, blah, you start kind of pilling around.
I'm sure it's intentional.
That's
especially with these incredible musicians.
Yeah, and it's just very 90s.
Yeah.
I don't even think we mentioned, going back to Christine 60, I don't even think we mentioned how, Gin Blossoms, when they were recording that, they keep saying, I don't usually say things to girls like this your age, and he keeps repeating it, and then he goes, I don't say things to girls like, okay, well, sometimes. And it just felt like a really 90s thing to do, because it just broke the script, went out of left field, so there's a lot of that on this album.
Ad-libs. Oh, yeah.
Some ad-libs.
There's a lot of random. We haven't even got to the craziest one yet.
No, you're right. But I think we can move on now to Goin' Blind.
Yes.
Okay, for sure. So we have Dinosaur Jr.
Never heard of them either.
Yeah, no, this is one that I never heard about. Yeah, it is a fun name. They're from Massachusetts. Okay, they're from Amherst, Massachusetts. They were formed in '84. They had to change their band name because they got sued. Oh. There's a super group, or at least there was a super group called Dinosaurs that sued because they had a band, because their band was called Dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
And so they just said, "Oh, we'll just call it Junior, Dinosaur
so funny.
Junior," and got away with it. So I thought that was kind of that was kind of cool. Cool.
It reminds me of like rappers that take other rappers' names and add Lil Nas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Dinosaur Junior.
No, you're right. Exactly.
Little Dinosaur.
Little Dinosaur. Littlefoot from Land Before Time.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's cute.
So I thought that was cool just to get some behind the scenes or get some info on Dinosaur Jr. They're from Massachusetts. This version I thought was really good. It was really faithful to the original version.
Yeah.
Not much to really comment other than, the vocals had to grow on me because it was a different vocal take than the original. But musically, it's very close. Yeah. And the vocals, I think they do grow on you.
They do.
It does seem like, an old man. I'm 93, you're 16, I'm going blind.
Yeah. It does fit with the song.
It has a very depressing sound to it almost.
Yeah.
Which the original one kind of does too, because it was up Hotter Than Hell, very murky, muddy production. But this version I thought was really good. It was one of the more faithful ones.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it because it was pretty good.
Same here. It was just a pretty straightforward, well done version. So yeah, we'll just move right on to Strutter, which was by the band Extreme. Had you heard of the band Extreme?
Nope.
This is one that Jeb actually was the one that introduced me to. So Jeb, I think, is a fan of Extreme. They're also from Massachusetts. They're from Boston.
Oh, what are the odds?
So very similar area to Dinosaur Jr. They formed in '85. And they are huge Kiss fans. At least Gary Cherone is, the lead singer. And this was one thing I found out doing this episode, was that during one of Gene's original solo shows, like in 2018 or something like that, when he was playing in Massachusetts, he brought Gary Cherone, the lead singer from Extreme, out on stage to perform Strutter.
Cool.
And again, somehow this just escaped me because I usually, 2018, I should have been keeping up with every YouTube video that Kiss ever did, but I guess that one just slipped through the cracks. But yeah, so Gary Cherone, almost 30 years, 25 years, I guess, later, Gene brought him out on stage, had him sing. It wasn't, this version of Strutter, because this one was one of the ones that started to veer left field compared to the normal version of Strutter. But it's still really cool. But when he brought Gary Cherone on stage this time, he let him have full control over the stage. Gene was like, "Go up there, it's all you, man." Gene took the back, and just let him have the lead. And that was really cool to see. So Gary Cherone, huge Kiss fan.
Cool.
But what did you think about this particular version of Strutter?
Is this... Sorry, there's a couple that are starting to blend together in my head. Is this the one that does not sound like Strutter at all?
This one has a little bit of a... Yeah, it's... if you want to play it...
Can I hear it just for a second?
If you want to play it, go ahead and play it. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yes. So this is the one that,
turns
into God of Thunder randomly?
It does have the God of Thunder... Yes, there's the God of Thunder riff in the middle, yes.
And the beat is... Because they changed the beat completely. And I thought the beat was very, God of Thunder. It felt like Strutter set to the God of Thunder beat. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
but it's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but...
This one grew on me, too, because this has a very iconic drum intro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they completely abandoned it.
Yeah.
And made some random new intro.
It's completely different, yeah.
And Strutter... as far as Kiss songs go, is one of the most just straight ahead, just rock,
and iconic,
right down the middle rock and roll. And this one gives a little bit of I don't know if it's a funk or a groove or whatever it is, but they added a little offbeat hi hat action and some other funkiness to it that it takes away from the original. Yeah, but it adds something new.
It isn't,
and I wasn't even looking to that. So this was one that I'd listened to 4 or 5 times. Just to actually start to appreciate it, you know? But I do appreciate it more than just because of that, but because, like you said, it does go into other Kiss songs. Yeah. It starts out as Strutter, but you get the riff for God of Thunder at a certain point, and then he says, when she wants, she'll pass you by. He says, whoa! Like Heaven's on Fire.
Yes.
Which was really cool. And then what else do? They start singing Shout It Out Loud at the end. Yep. And then Gary goes, at the end, he goes, oh, I got it. Ba-da-da-da. He mouths the intro to Love Gun.
Yes.
And then for the last half second, you get the first 3 notes to Detroit Rock City.
Yes.
So again, one of those 90s things where in the 80s it was all about perfection, but in the 90s they're let it all hang out.
Exactly.
So I just liked
and just mess around.
The no frills mess around. Yeah. High school garage band aspect.
That is what it feels like.
That you were getting from these bands. Because a band like Kiss, they were seasoned, man. 20 years. But these young kids are getting out of high school. You know, you got bands like Anthrax that when you watch Anthrax with Kiss in the video, it's like adults hanging out with kids, man. It's crazy. But anyway, no, this one was a fun version. It just had to grow on me.
Yeah, it
like
grew on me
most
too.
of this, like most of this, it had to just grow on me. The thing that blew me away though was there was double bass at the end.
Was there really?
There was. So right at the end, you hear right when they're doing like shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. You got a double bass down low, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cool. That was one of the more surprising things here. Again, like hearing Anthrax take She to a next level. I was like, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Hearing some double bass on Strutter. That's what I want to hear.
Nice.
As a drummer, personally. But anyway, so it was a fun version, even if it's not my favorite version.
Yeah, well, and you can tell
It's
that
still pretty fun.
they're big Kiss fans just by the way they
Just having fun.
Yeah, and they're having fun and wanting to like plug in as many little references and other Kiss songs as they can, even though they only get to do one.
Absolutely. So do you want to go move on now to the next song, Plaster Caster?
Yes.
The Lemonheads.
Never heard of Lemonheads either.
I'm puckering just thinking about it. But
Yeah.
no, so never heard of Lemonheads, although they are from Boston, from Massachusetts.
So you're telling me 3 bands in a row are all from Massachusetts?
So far.
That's so random.
Yep. They were formed in '86, so just a year after the Lemonheads.
Okay.
But yeah, so Kiss was really tapping into the Boston scene,
area,
the Massachusetts scene, man, and getting these East Coasters in on the new Kiss album.
That's so funny.
But Plaster Caster, you know what? It's one of those ones that I don't really have much to say about it. That it was a faithful version.
Exactly.
You know, this was one of the ones. The album is kind of balanced. Well, maybe it leans a little more towards the freeform, but there are a couple of these songs: "Hard Luck Woman," "Plaster Caster." We talked about "Goin' Blind." How they stay relatively faithful while also bringing in a little bit of that artistry in it.
Yeah.
Whereas you have songs, you know, like this one. Or not this one, but like a couple of ones we talked about before, like Strutter, where they just rock and roll all night. You know, they go completely left field.
Yeah,
and
do their own thing.
Do
with
their
it,
own thing 100%. So, and it's one of those things where it just goes back to opinion. You know, in your mind, you know, did you want a faithful Kiss tribute album? Did you want an all-out freeform album?
Right.
What we got was a hodgepodge. You know, so I don't really know how to justify it or how to like really think about that, because it was like, do you want this? Do you want that? Well, here's both. So where does it rank? I don't know. This album is very polarizing, and even though I've heard it, you know, like 5 times in preparation, I'm not really sure where I land on it still.
No, because it is all over the place. It's not.
It's very all
because
over the place.
they did both. It's never going to be sonically cohesive at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it was really intended to be. So I think that's okay, and I think they're kind of trying to please both sides there. People that would want more faithful covers, and then people that would want something different. And I don't really know which one I want either, because. Honestly, like, the faithful ones, they're good, but we haven't had anything to say about them because they're just pretty straight ahead.
True.
And honestly, most of the songs, even if they were good covers, if I want to hear that song, I'm going to listen to Kiss.
You're right. We have been talking more about the ones that are left of center.
Yeah, they're more interesting.
They are more interesting.
And I think it's smart that they did put some more faithful ones on there, but they're also like, no offense, but like, why would I listen to this version of Plaster Caster when I could listen to Kiss's version?
Right, true.
So, yeah, I still don't know. It's very interesting.
You know what we should do?
What?
This just came to me.
Okay.
What if you and I each created our own Kiss tribute album? Like, you say, what if this artist that I like...
Oh, you mean like a hypothetical one?
Hypothetical.
Okay.
Yes. What if you were like, I like this artist. What if they did this Kiss song? What would it sound like?
That'd be fun.
And then I would like, I like this band.
Yeah. What if they did this?
That would be fun. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll think about that.
Yeah.
That could be kind of fun.
Let us know what you think about that idea.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Also, let us know what you guys think about this album, because it's not one that gets talked about a lot. We actually just remembered that we have a VHS.
Didn't watch it. Full disclosure.
No, and I don't even know what's on this.
Yeah, because it's a...
Because I've seen the other ones, like Extreme Close Up and all that.
Can I look at
But, so I know that there's behind-the-scenes stuff. You have interviews with Gina Paul. There's some behind-the-scenes stuff. And then they throw in some old vintage clips.
Yeah,
so,
because, I mean, there's a big list of
It's
all
a big
these.
list of all this stuff, which...
But there are, mixed in with all this, like, Kiss footage, there is a video of Anthrax performing She. It says She, performed by Anthrax.
So maybe that's... Okay, interesting.
And then Christine 16, Gin Blossoms. I think
Performing it, though, live? Where would they be performing it live at? On stage?
I don't know, but it says performed by them.
See, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun because
That's confusing.
This was a recent addition to my collection because this was one that escaped me for so long, and now that I own it, even though we have a VHS, we don't watch or we have a VCR, but we don't really watch VHS tapes that much anymore. We may have to pop this in because this is one that I don't even think I've ever seen, which is a cardinal sin.
So, it says, we've opened the Kiss Vault to give you performance footage of 13 vintage live in-concert songs.
Right.
See and hear us in a 1977 rehearsal.
That's crazy. What?
Then listen as we take you behind the scenes for new interviews and glimpses at never-before-seen photos from the 70s of Kiss without makeup. Also, take an inside look at the making of Kisstory. Yeah, they are promoting that, the ultimate 9-pound, 400-plus page Kiss book. Then go with us to watch Anthrax and Jim Bosstones in the studio recording track. Okay, so this is where that footage came from that you were talking about. Of Gene and Paul in the studio.
That makes sense.
Yes. Wow, that's cool.
That makes sense.
It's 90 minutes long. We definitely need to watch this.
This one we may do it for the Patreon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We should do a
like
watch through.
To this. Yeah.
We should do a watch through this on the Patreon.
Yeah, if you want to see
that would be a lot of fun to do. Okay, we gotta get back to this.
Yeah.
But anyway, so anything else to say about Plaster Caster? It was really good.
Really.
It was really good. I'm not sure anything about the Lemonheads other than they're just another Boston band that's on this list. Now we have Detroit Rock City performed by the mighty Bosstones.
First of all, who is that, and are they also from Boston?
I don't know, and yes.
Really?
They are from Boston. Believe it or not. Yeah, they are from Boston.
For some reason, Bosstones, it was like, oh,
Boston, yeah.
Maybe that's a play on that.
There you go, Bosstones, but they also have their Boss music tones. But we're also from Boston. I like that. Did not put that together, but yes.
4 in a row now.
You called it. Yes, they were formed in Boston in '83. This might be my least favorite.
It's weird.
Version.
I do love though the beginning.
Just because of the beginning,
phone call from Gene is so good.
So that actually made me laugh because when I heard it the first time, my thought was, "Oh, that's cool. They're giving an homage to the original version, which has, of course, the news report.
Right.
Gene gets, the person gets in the car, starts it up, starts driving, listening to Kiss Alive. Okay, great. And then in this version, somebody gets in the car." And they're playing a voicemail from Gene, which I thought was pretty funny. But upon listening to it, did you actually listen to what he was saying?
Yeah, he told them not to do Detroit Rock City.
He said Detroit Rock City has been taken by another band. He mentioned Megadeth.
Yeah.
He said Megadeth, but I'm not sure what he was saying, though.
I think he said, Megadeth was going to do it, but now I think somebody else is going to do it. He didn't say specifically.
Yeah, he said, my suggestion is to do any other song.
Else.
It's fine. And as soon as Gene says that, which that just started, I bust out laughing.
Me too.
That's so punk rock. That's so 90s.
Yeah.
Again, that's like the most 90s thing you could do.
Just immediately rebels against that.
Yeah. I appreciated that aspect of it. I think my issue was just the vocals.
Yeah.
Now they're a ska band, and I'll be honest, I don't even know what ska is to begin with.
I can't.
It sounds like
I know what it is, but I can't describe it
genre.
to you.
It's a made up genre.
All genres are made up.
Yes, but this one is even more so.
Ska is real, but
ska is like nu metal. It doesn't exist. How is Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, and Godsmack and Korn all nu metal?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Limp Bizkit? Slipknot? That doesn't make any sense. Ska band, it's just 3 letters put together. I don't care.
To me, ska is like, and I'm sorry if this is completely off base.
Go for it.
But to me, ska is like white boy reggae.
Okay.
Is what I've always interpreted.
See, now I gotta go listen to This Is White Boy Reggae now.
Well, I didn't really perceive this song as that, but just ska as a genre in general.
Okay.
It's just...
Yeah, I'm not up to date on my ska, so...
That's okay.
I'm not a ska boy, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this one either, other than that amazing opening.
The instruments were good.
Yeah.
I like the similar, instrumentation. But the vocals just seem more like they would be more good for a Gene song than a Paul song.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, having said that, though, this was the single, I believe, for the album.
Really?
Mercury released this as the single on 7-inch green vinyl.
Interesting.
And it was backed with the original version, the Kiss version.
That's so weird to me that they would choose
wild
this song.
to me. What do you think should have been the single?
Either...
Hard Luck Woman.
Really?
In my opinion, Hard Luck Woman featuring Garth Brooks should have been the single. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I just assumed, either the Anthrax one or the Gin Blossoms one. I mean, those are the two that have videos to go along with them.
I'm thinking radio.
I understand. Like, what do I think would be most successful? Yeah, maybe Hard Luck Woman or maybe even Deuce.
I like how I didn't even mention that Kiss played this with Garth Brooks live on stage. I mentioned how Kiss played with Gin Blossoms live. Kiss played this live with
I didn't know
Garth
that.
Brooks. I know.
So not only did they play it on the studio track, they played it live with him at some point
television.
too. That's cool.
Paul used a freaking 12-string.
Whoa.
We gotta watch it. But there's a reason why I've been not showing you because...
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell everybody here. Patreon. Anyway, so I've been holding back on that one for you, but I like how I didn't mention it here. Yeah, no, the Kiss, Gene, Paul, Eric, and Bruce, Revenge Kiss was on stage with country-ass Garth Brooks. Man, it was awesome. Great. It was awesome. Great performance. This one, not so much. Detroit Rock City. But anyway, let's move on now to the quote-unquote last track, at least the last track on the main album, which is Yoshiki's Symphony of Black Diamond. This was ballsy.
I adored this. This
was ballsy. This one grew on me too because I didn't like it.
I love it.
For sure. You talk about it first, and I'll talk about my experience with it. You go ahead.
So, I just played this in my car. I didn't look that closely at the track list ahead of time. I didn't know that there was a symphony coming, so it did.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, for sure.
Especially after Detroit Rock City, it did throw me off for a second. And I thought that maybe it was going to, like, lead into something else. Like, a rock band was going to start playing. But, no, I loved it. I thought it was really, really cool. It was super long.
About 7 minutes. Over 7 minutes
long, but I loved every second. I mean, it reminds me of, like, Kiss Symphony and all that stuff.
For sure.
And I just thought it was really cool that they had something like that on here.
So, for me, this really bothered me at first.
Yeah.
Because, kind of like you, I was waiting for it to transition into something else, but it never did. And so, because of that, I didn't really pay much attention to it. And so when I went back and listened to it, I was like, this really just seems random and pretentious and overblown. You know what I mean? And I was like, I like Yoshiki and I like Black Diamond, but this just isn't it. And I had to stop myself and go back and say, okay, now, Xander, you got to realize your ears are not attuned
to classical
music. They're just not. I like Western music. I like rock and roll. If there are no drums in it, there's no beat.
Right.
I can't. No, I'm a drummer, so I need the drums. I need something there to actually keep the time. So this was just la 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 la, and I'm going, what is this noise?
That's crazy.
So I had to go back and listen to it and just let myself listen to the music.
Let yourself get lost in it.
And get lost in it.
That's what I did in my car driving. I loved every second of it.
And that's when I heard dun 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 dun. I was finally hearing where the music was, where the beat was, because I was like, I don't hear Black Diamond.
Yeah.
I don't hear it at all. So I had to actually listen really hard for the notes and to actually get it. And once I got it, it was there. But again, I was looking for something different.
Right.
So once I actually listened to it and found, okay, gotcha, now I'm in this. Now I see Yoshiki's brilliance because he arranged this.
Yeah.
It was the American Symphony Orchestra that performed it.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome.
So this would have been something that he would have done, would have like arranged and wrote out.
Yeah,
and
written all the instrumental parts out.
And then
which is crazy that people can do that.
I know. I don't read and write.
That's
music
talent
and never
I cannot comprehend.
But it was, recorded by the American Symphony Orchestra. I did not know that.
That's cool.
I also did not know that he was not supposed to even do this in the first place.
Really?
Gene wanted I from The Elder to be set to an orchestra. He said, I want to hear an orchestral arrangement of I
that would have been cool.
from The Elder, but Yoshiki said, I really like Black Diamond, though. And Gene's like, okay, for sure. Good,
I'm glad he let him do.
And once he heard it, it was like, oh, this is going to be on the Japanese album. We're going to do a German version with a German song for Germany. But we're also going to do a Japanese-only release.
Okay.
And this is going to be on it.
Interesting.
And then he came back and said, no. I want this to be on the international version. This
Yoshiki
deserves...
said that, or
no,
Gene
Gene.
did, okay.
Gene came back and said, no. This is going to be on the final version for the whole world to hear. This is brilliant.
I mean, it's a
this
great
is art.
closing track, too.
It's really cool.
It's
really
majestic,
cool.
and it ends in such a beautiful way.
It is very pretentious and sophisticated.
I love it.
For Kiss.
For Kiss, yeah.
But it's not Kiss, it's Yoshiki.
Yeah.
Now, are you aware of who Yoshiki is?
Vaguely.
Yoshiki is in a band called X Japan. X Japan, I think, is probably one of the biggest metal bands to ever come out of Japan. But they are super glam, super big into image, blistering guitar, huge drums, all that. So, I mean, great band, fantastic. But, Gene loves it because of that very reason.
Yeah.
And I think he has a very soft spot in his heart for Yoshiki.
Yeah.
That's why he let him do whatever he wanted to do and said,
cool.
we're going to put it on there. Yoshiki is one of the only people to actually perform on stage with Kiss, I think. But I know Yoshiki very recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, played on stage with Kiss.
Really?
I don't know.
Last couple years?
On the End of the Road tour. I mean, we may have to look it up real quickly while we're here.
Have I not seen that?
Because I maybe should have, because that just came to me. But I'm pretty sure Yoshiki performed with Kiss. There's going to be 2 versions of this podcast. There's going to be the extended version on Patreon, and then there's going to be the version on YouTube where we have to cut out all this
extra stuff while we're playing things.
all the music. But anyways, it looks like December 2019 at the Tokyo Dome, Yoshiki performed Rock and Roll Night with Kiss, and then also played Beth with Eric Singer. That's really cool. So the reason why this is crazy is because, Gin Blossoms and Garth Brooks played with Kiss on late night TV. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Only 3 bands / artists that I know of have played on stage with Kiss.
Wow.
That being Phil Collin from Def Leppard on the 40th anniversary tour about 10 years ago, and then Joe Perry from Aerosmith on the Aerosmith tour, put on Paul's boots and played. Phil Collin had Paul's boots and Paul's feathers on. It was dope.
That's awesome.
And then Yoshiki performed on stage with Kiss in Japan.
That's cool.
But Kiss has been very adamant about not having anybody else on the stage. It's very sacred. So the fact that Joe Perry was on stage, Phil Collin, and Yoshiki. I mean, they didn't even have Peter and Ace and Bruce and everybody and Vinny and everybody on stage. It was like, this is like a sacred... It's
like an honor.
A sacred battle zone. You know what I mean? That only a few people have the ranks to be on stage. And so that right there goes to show just how much Kiss has an affinity for Yoshiki. But I was thinking that there was a TV performance that Kiss, or Yoshiki did with Kiss, where like the drums had a different... I don't know. I might be thinking of something else different. But anyway, no. On stage, for real.
That's awesome.
With Kiss. Pretty cool stuff. So I liked that. I still want to hear I as an...
orchestral, like, arrangement.
Because I think Gene was onto something. I think he was onto something.
That'd be beautiful. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to close it out now with the bonus track. So the bonus track is a version of Unholy by the band the Artze. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I just realized this. That translates to... I could be getting it wrong. I don't know. I took like a couple years of German in high school. I think that's the doctors.
Okay.
The doctor or the doctors or the medicine. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're calling themselves the Doctors.
Okay.
But they're an all-German band. I know that.
I could tell.
Yes. And so... Oh, yeah, of course. So this was all done in German completely.
That's cool.
And Unholy... in German is Unheimlich. Unheilig. And so I was like, that's heavy.
Yeah.
That is heavy. So it was really cool to hear, this song in German, because they are huge fans of Kiss as well as Rammstein, the other
I know Rammstein.
big known. There's another German band called Die Toten Hosen, and that's the Dead Trousers. The Dead Pants.
The Dead Pants?
So I don't know what it is with...
The Dead Pants Society.
The Dead Pants. I don't know what it is with the Germans and their crazy band names. But even though...
Like the American ones on this album are any better.
Yeah, Toad the Wet Sprocket. Oh, that translated into German. What's Toad the Wet Sprocket in German?
I don't know.
I'm about to do a Google Translate, but I'm not going to. Anyway, maybe the bottom I'll do it for the people on YouTube. Anyway... no, I thought this was really cool.
It was very cool.
So this was the bonus track that was released only in Germany.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
So this was German only, but it was also included on Spotify, which is great because the version I have does not have that.
But you do have it on vinyl.
But it's sealed, so boom. But yeah, I did hear it on Spotify. I'd only heard it a couple times, so I had forgotten all about it.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to hear it, especially considering how about... like halfway through, it switches to "I Was Made for Loving You."
Yes, I love that part.
Random because at first I was listening to, Unheilig. And I was like, all right, this is heavy. And then all of a sudden, can't get enough. I said, what did we do?
Yeah.
Am I on like shuffle now? Did it switch to what's going on here? So no, they just did a little mashup, kind of like Extreme did with Strutter.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I really enjoyed this one. It was fun.
It was a dream come true for the guys in the band because they are huge Kiss fans. The guys, Bella and Rob, I guess are huge. There's like 3 guys in the band. Bella and Rob are 2 of the guys. Massive Kiss fans. And just a couple years after this, they would actually open, Artze would actually open for Kiss on the German dates for the reunion tour.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Reunion tour.
Yeah.
This is just like a non-makeup, mid-90s kind of whatever thing.
Right.
A couple years later, Kiss was reunited with the Fab Four, the original 4. And your band, having just done the Kiss tribute album, is now on stage
that
opening
is cool.
for...
That must have been surreal for them.
That, again, I never
like
knew that.
circle.
I never knew that. And so learning about that it made me feel so good for them. And it was just cool to enrich our knowledge of Kisstory. And is there anything else you have to say about either this version of this song or this album in general?
I don't think so.
What would you give it out of a 5-star rating?
5-star rating?
5-star rating.
Oh, I don't know, because I'm not going to listen to it doesn't mean I don't appreciate it for what it is. I would say a solid 3. And that's being generous.
I think
2.5 to 3.
I think before this episode, it would have been a 2, 2.5.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good solid 3.
Solid 3.
A
Will
good
I
solid
revisit
3.
it much? No.
I think, again...
But I get it.
Anthrax. Anthrax's version is the only one that when I hear it, I'm like this.
Yeah,
let's
pretty
go.
cool.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's the one that for me stands out. Although I will say I do have a better appreciation for this album and the artists that were featured on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because looking at this beforehand, I was like, Lemonheads, Toad the Wet Sprocket, Dinosaur Jr. I don't know these guys.
Right.
But now I feel like I do because not only are they Kiss fans, they're all from Boston. It's really...
Literally all of them.
Literally crazy.
Literally half the bands in this
You
album.
got Boston and then
be a
Germany.
coincidence.
You got just Boston and Germany on this album, baby. It was crazy.
So funny.
Anyway, I think it was, an okay album. It did go gold.
Did it?
It reached gold, so it sold 500,000 copies. Pretty crazy. Not only that, but it spent 13 weeks on the charts and reached number 13 on Billboard.
Wow, okay.
So
that's great.
it's kind of like Carnival of Souls, where it's like, yo, that was low-key a hit. You know what I mean? It was like, we think about it nowadays.
Like, we
as being
treat it
a
like it
throwaway.
wasn't, but...
Yeah, but at the time, I'm talking like 13 weeks on the charts.
Yeah.
This, really?
It definitely sold.
I'm sorry, reached number 19 on the album, Billboard. Sorry, so it spent 13 weeks on the charts. Reached number 19. Hard Luck Woman reached number 67 on the Hot Country Singles chart.
Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe that
Kiss
should have been a single.
Had a country hit.
That's great.
Crazy.
Yeah, that they were actually on that. That's so
Seriously,
cool.
yes. Hard Luck Woman reached 67 on the Hot Country Singles, and then it also reached number 28 on the Adult Contemporary charts, and it peaked at number 26 in the top 40 mainstream.
That's awesome.
Hard Luck Woman. I think that should have been the single.
Fair.
Now, I'm not really familiar with how popular he was at the time, Garth Brooks.
Very. 90s, Garth Brooks.
That's what I'm saying.
Very popular.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like too familiar, but it seems like to me...
No, he was 90s country.
He was huge.
Yes.
And having him together like that, like, I mean, yes, they did, it did get, maybe that was a single too. I'm not sure how that song would have reached if it wasn't a single. So it must have been a single.
Maybe it was.
Because it would have been the Hot Country single. So I don't know. Either way, I think it should have been the main single, the lead single. It should have been the one to get the green 7-inch vinyl.
Right, yeah.
They should have played it. Yes, they did play it on, live on late night TV. They should have had Garth Brooks come out on stage at some point and play it. I'm not sure how that would have worked out. But again, it was just like, that's power move right there. Having Garth Brooks, a big artist like that with this, it was just so cool. Especially since he's a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
That's my big takeaway is that, this was the graduating class of the Kiss Army.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for our track-by-track review of Kiss My Ass Classic Kiss Regrooved. Please, in the comments, let us know what you guys thought. Were you there when it came out? What were your thoughts when it came out? What are your thoughts today? Have they changed? When was the last time you listened to it? I want to know what you guys had to think. We are going to get to some Kiss merch real quick because you guys know I'm always showing some new Kiss merch, or at least most often I am. And today is no exception. But today I have not forgotten what I bought.
You have a lot today.
Usually I will buy something and like I said, forget. conveniently forget. Just to remember on the podcast, but no, this one I could never forget what this is. This is something that I never knew existed.
Okay.
And so now that I have it, it's great, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, drum roll, what's it going to be? It's going to be crazy. You guys know me.
Do I know about this?
No,
Okay.
no, it's nothing. You guys know me. I'm the weirdest Kiss fan when it comes to collecting. So this is a Kiss Him or Her promo folder. Now, it's actually a lot smaller than I thought.
It's tiny.
But I thought it was going to be a little bit of a bigger folder, but no. So there are unlimited promo items from the Kiss Him, Kiss Her cosmetic fragrance line. And I have a weird obsession with this because I have a lot of the stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff.
There's a whole display up there that you can't see right now.
A lot of the stuff. So, and I thought that for a while that I had gotten everything. Once I had gotten the 2 magazine promos and the store banner, I thought, good job, Xander. You did it. All of a sudden, this little folder pops up, this little promo folder. And so I got it from Kiss Army Warehouse. And again, I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger, but it's not. It's pretty small. But on the inside, you have a couple vector, product displays there. And then on the inside, you have... Oh, the original prices for everything.
Oh, that's interesting.
Golly, it was $49 for the 100 milliliter. Got crazy names. Hey, this could be my way of checking off my list and being like, did I actually get everything? Anyway,
it's like inventory.
So I'm sure for most folks, nobody cares about the stupid cosmetic, the fragrance line and the perfumes and the colognes. But after a while, I thought, this is crazy. This is awesome.
It's cool, and
I didn't care about
amazing.
it. I didn't care when it first came out. I really didn't. I just didn't care at all. But now I'm like, give me all the cologne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the design
really cool.
of everything
That's
is
what
just
I'm saying.
so good.
The
it's
minimalistic
so clean.
design, it's very...
The white, it's so good.
The black and white, it's very Kiss. It's very contemporary. Minimalistic design. I love it. So I'm always looking out for Kiss Him, Kiss Her stuff. But anyway, I know most are like, I don't even care about that stuff. But anyway, couple more small things to get to. I may actually need the Kiss knife for this. You know it's a good day when you got to bust out the Kiss knife.
Yeah.
So you guys know that I've been on a Kiss Indiana kick. Babe, you know that as well.
Yes, I do.
So today, I have another Kiss ticket.
Nice.
From Indiana, and I believe... Watch, I get the wrong one. This is like a different one. Nope. Okay, for sure. Yeah, so this was Saturday, May 20th, 2000 at Deer Creek Music Center. So this is where present day Ruoff, right?
Yep.
Or is it Klipsch? Klipsch,
It's Ruoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was...
It's gone through like 3 different names since Deer Creek. Verizon.
Yeah, it was Deer Creek and then Verizon and then Klipsch. And now it's Ruoff. And then next year in 2025 it'll be some other
big company that
stupid
sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, so this would have been on the farewell tour, this show right here. And I've just been buying up as many Kiss tickets as I can from Indiana. And in addition to that, I also bought an Ace Frehley guitar pick from this exact same show.
Oh, cool.
Now, I did show, not sure how long ago it was, but some other... Oh my gosh, how convenient.
No way.
This is crazy. So the seller also included these cool Kiss trading cards, right? And we're doing our Kiss My Ass 30th anniversary review, and the very first trading card they included was the Kiss My Ass trading card. So that's pretty crazy. We also got, let's see, I don't know. That's cool. Here's a photo of Bill Coin and Kiss with a platinum record, it looks like.
Oh, cool.
Back in 77?
Yeah, it's got the little...
That's really cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, check that out, you guys. Here, I'll maybe do an up close for you guys. But yeah, we got some extra stuff here. Here's Ace with a bunch of Spaceman merchandise. That's really cool.
Nice.
And then let's see what else we got. And then that's just a random one. So I love it when the bonus items come in, man. Remember last time when I opened up the last Kiss Museum package?
Oh, yes.
And got the fun bonus stuff there? Super cool. Anyway, so here is the guitar pick from Ace. Not stage played. It's not used. It was one of the ones that Ace would have had, up on the microphone stand or on his guitar. Anyway, there you go. It's yellow.
Wow, yeah, and it even says Indianapolis.
Yeah, it says... Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't have bought it if it didn't say it. But anything that says Indianapolis, Kiss ticket, Kiss posters, I'm all about it. I'm putting together a Kiss Indiana project. So as many photos and scans as I can get a hold of.
Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, it's like bright yellow and has like the silver metallic shiny text.
It's very cool.
That's awesome.
If you would, could you grab behind the Rocking Marine drum set? There's another pink one. Yeah, there's a pink one. So this is the one that I showed on the show months ago. Yeah. Which was from which show? Did you say on that one?
9/9.
Okay, so September 9th. Yeah, for sure. So same tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Those
if you want,
great.
you can put those two over there together. The KISS ticket has its own special location that it will go to. But I think that's it as far as like new stuff. Very small stuff. I don't have enough room for big things anymore.
No,
I
you
mean,
do not.
I already have a bunch of big things that I'm using as tables to hold my smaller stuff. So the collecting is getting out of hand in 2024, but such is life. I'm also doing the KISS Merch of the Year still.
I was going to ask.
And thank you for reminding me because I actually have forgotten a couple episodes. So this is actually on your side of the room. So I'm going to have you grab right next to the right of KISS Symphony is a DVD on the second shelf right there.
I don't even see KISS Symphony. Okay. This?
It's a DVD called 20th Century Masters.
Yes.
Yes. So we're on episode 104. So today we're showing something from 2004, and so today I'm showing this 20th Century Masters DVD collection. So this, I found it at a pawn shop in Florida.
In Florida.
What a crazy story that is, right?
When?
Yeah, so, back in like 07, 09, I don't know. It was one of the only vacations we ever took as kids because we couldn't afford that stuff. And we were in we said, let's go to a pawn shop in Florida. This will be fun. And that wasn't the whole vacation. The vacation was Florida, but we decided to make a pit stop at this pawn shop.
Yeah, fair.
And I was very early on in my KISS collecting, and so was, eyes peeled for KISS and didn't find anything until Jeb said, look! And he said, check out this DVD. And it was, this is the DVD right here. And it only has like 5 music videos on it, but it has I Love It Loud, Lick It Up, Heaven's on Fire, Tears Are Falling, and Crazy Crazy Nights.
Okay.
So
it's just
5
a bunch of 80s.
really solid music videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's literally just an 80s.
Oh, that's cool.
An 80s DVD compilation.
That came out in 04?
That came out in 04.
That's great.
There must have been like other 20th Century Masters with different artists, I'm assuming. But this is the one that they did for KISS. I'm not sure if they did one for the 70s or 90s.
I'm wondering if there
80s.
was like a set at some point, maybe.
That would not surprise me.
You know what I mean? Because the fact there's only 5 songs and they're all 80s. They're
all 80s
and has 80s on the cover. The Best of KISS, the DVD collection. So that makes me think there's maybe a set that has more. That'd be cool.
So, okay, I know this. There was a CD.
Right.
Called,
I've seen that.
Yeah, that one I've seen. There was also a CD version of that from the 80s and a version from the 90s.
Oh, interesting.
But as far as the DVD goes, I'm not really seeing much.
Maybe it is just the one.
I think that is a one-off.
That's so
the
random.
80s. There are 3 CDs for 70s, 80s, and 90s.
It's like the best of KISS, 5 80s songs.
Do I even have any of those? See, guys, it's just too much. I can't keep up with the KISS stuff, man. It's crazy. Cool. Anyway, that's really cool. Don't have a stand for it or the Kiss My Ass one, but either way, you guys know it's always fun just hanging out, talking about KISS. This has been super fun, especially since I learned a lot about Kiss My Ass.
Yeah, you did so much research for
hopefully
this.
you learned a lot too, had a good time. Now that we know some of the stuff, like it's Tool singing Dr. Love,
I need to re-listen
Gotta
now.
go back, refathom, re-listen, keep listening to Black Diamond Symphony. Super awesome. But anyway, like I said, I want to know what everybody else's thoughts on this album are because I feel like it's either one of those things where it's like, oh, this is really cool, or it's like, this is crap.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear what everybody thinks, what your favorite cover was, what your least favorite cover was, and then check out the extended version of this episode over on the Patreon. Do you want to, next time, do that, our own tribute albums? Come up with our own hypothetical ones?
Maybe.
That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll have to think
like I said, it was kind of just a random idea, but that could be kind of fun.
That would be cool.
So, in the comments, let us know it. Do you guys want us to do our own make-believe hypothetical KISS tribute albums? And if you guys want, you can follow along too, because while we do ours, you do yours.
Exactly.
What artist would you want to hear play X KISS song, Y KISS song, any KISS song you want? That could be a lot of fun.
That's going to require so much thought. I feel like I need more than a week to put mine together. So maybe not next time, but we should do it soon.
Okay, for sure.
But I don't want to rush it. I want us to be perfect.
Okay, for sure. Well, we'll keep it on the back burner, and that'll be something that we do at some point.
Soon if you guys are interested.
Because that just came up to me, and I'm like, that could be fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like, that could be a lot of fun. I would like to see what artist people choose to play which KISS songs.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. Anyway, we're going to keep it, just nice and, easy right here because we're about an hour and a half almost, at least for the extended version. So we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll let you guys get back to your day, get back to your week. Have a great week. I hope you guys are doing all right. Life has been crazy. I'm sure it has been for you guys too, but this is our time to escape all that.
Yep.
And talk about things that we love, things that matter to us. And so I'm really thankful that you guys are choosing to join us here on Kiss Army Things, because after 100 episodes, it ain't getting old.
Also,
it's really
I'm sorry,
fun.
one thing we didn't mention is that we're wearing
our
matching
or tribute shirts.
Kiss
Yes.
shirts today.
So we did a Kiss tribute album review. I like how it's different logo, different cats.
Different cats, yeah.
Mine is different
We
logo,
both
different
got
cats.
gifted these shirts from different people at different times in the last few years.
Yeah.
And just decided to wear them today.
Decided to wear them,
we
yeah.
tried to get a cute photo with one of our cats. It did.
It
You won't
work.
be seeing that photo. It didn't
Well,
go well.
yeah, we don't, you might not, but I don't know. But either way, it was it was something funny.
She wasn't as excited about it
We
as
usually
we were.
try to coordinate Kiss shirts and have it be either
Sometimes.
relevant or fun or themed or whatever, but then we forget to say it. So thank you for bringing that up. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of a Kiss My Ass. What's new in your guys' Kiss collection? And we'll be chatting with you guys very soon. I love chatting with you guys. YouTube, Patreon, Instagram, Facebook. It's all great. I love Kiss. Keep it positive. Keep it cool. And we'll see you guys in episode 105. Until then, my name is Xander.
My name is Daphne.
Peace out and rock on.